Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are having a great start to your week so far. So today I'm going to be trying out the new Huda Tantour contour and bronzer cream and comparing it against the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel. Now I have a whole review on this one if you would like to see that, because although I'm going to compare these two, you will quickly see I have a big issue with this one now that I'm more in my summer skin tone. By the way, I'm literally covered in spots. I know not for why. As soon as I pick up some sun, as soon as I get some colour to my skin, this one stops bronzing me because it comes in one universal shade. It's not universal at all, it's just one shade. And it's a pretty light shade. In the winter, I'm like an NC30, and this is just about perfect for me. You could use it with a lighter hand on lighter skin tones, but any deeper than an NC30 and it won't bronze you. I'm now about an NC35 and it does not bronze me, as you'll be about to see. But I wanted to just compare it so you could see the difference in tone, you could see the difference in application, and I could just compare them and tell you what my thoughts are as far as consistency, etc. If you are only interested in me whacking this on my face, I will have a timestamp down below. If you want to know the information about these products, then sit back down. So the Huda Beauty comes in 5 shades: light, fair, light, medium, which I have, and then there is a tan and I think a rich. I think that's right, 5 shades. The Chanel is just the one. You get a whopping 30 grams. I had to check that because I did not believe myself. 30 grams in the Chanel. So although it is mega bucks, you get a lot for your money, and believe me, this will last you for years. 4 years. The Huda Beauty, you get 11 grams. So it's not a pinch, but it is less than half of this one. So don't be fooled. However, some people only care about the initial outlay. It's all well and good saying this one is better value for money, but if you don't have 40 odd pounds or however many dollars, then you don't have it. So in that case, this one is like half the price. So yeah, smaller initial outlay, better value for your pound. The Huda Beauty is touted as being a Tantour, a contour and bronzer cream. So it's supposed to contour and bronze you and is for use on face and body, as we've seen Huda. She also brought out a brush designed to work with these. Now the swatches of these were confusing. They looked exceedingly dark. So I went for the shade medium, which was based off the descriptions and the fact that I saw Huda herself uses this shade, and I think we're fairly close as far as the depth of our skin. So that is the reason why I went for medium, but it did certainly look like it might be too dark on me, but I will confirm it is the correct shade for me. If you have deeper skin and you're wondering whether the deeper shades will work for you, I've seen 2 reviews that I would recommend you watching. So one is Nima Tang and the other is the Plastic Boy. So both of those YouTubers have deeper skin tones and they use the darkest shade in the collection. So I think that is about everything I have to tell you before we start the application. I will just warn you, I have some real issues, which are my fault and not the products, when I've initially tried to use the Huda Tantour. I have used this before, but I did it very, very quickly and just played around with it when it first arrived. So I'm aware I fully bodged this up the first time, but we're going to work it out together and I'm going to show you how I made it work and how I figured it out, what it is and what it isn't. So if you want to see how to use this correctly and how to use this for the best result, then keep on watching. Okay, so I've turned my lights down a fair bit just so that you guys can get a more realistic view of the shades and how they look on my skin tone, and just so that the lights aren't washing out the swatches and things. These are the swatches of the 2 products together. So obviously this is the Soleil Tan de Chanel and this is the Huda Beauty in the shade medium. I'm going to start off with the Soleil Tan de Chanel. I would usually recommend using either like a foundation brush, like a Sigma F80 or a Morphe M439, something like that, like a flat top kabuki or a quite dense foundation brush, and sort of dabbing on. But I also really enjoy using a beauty blender with that one. So whatever is your preference. Today, so that we can use the same on both sides. I'm going to use my Japonesque complexion cheek brush. It doesn't have like a number or anything useful like this, but it's this kind of cream medium sized brush, and we'll clean it off between each side. So I'm going to start off with the Chanel. Obviously this one, as if you don't know, I don't know if you know or not, don't presume, Charlotte. It smells like heaven. It's got a sort of summery skincare type smell. And with this one, I just dab it in on the cheeks, round the forehead, all the places where you would normally bronze. And at the moment, being like an NC35-ish now, you see the issue. It's this universal shade. It ain't universal. It's just, it's not even universal on my one face, my one person out of the entire population face. In winter, sure. In summer, no. No, no, no. But I will say I do love the performance of this. It's beautiful on the skin, it lasts, it goes on like a dream. Products go over it nicely. It's a beautiful shade, it's nice and warm. It looks very, very natural. The finish is very natural matte. It smells like heaven. You get an insane amount. I mean, I've used this to death, and obviously it has got a big dent in it, but it's, we're not at pan yet, we're not at pan. So you can see there's, let me turn my lights down even more. You can see there's a hint of colour to my cheeks, but it's absolutely, it's a stretch to say it's bronzing me, honestly. I actually feel like on the monitor, it's looking like more of a bronze than it is in real life. In real life, it really doesn't look like there's anything there at all. Okay, so I've given my brush a nice clean, and we're now going to go in with the Huda Beauty. Now, surprisingly for a Huda product, I can't detect any scent in it whatsoever, so that's a real bonus. I know lots of you struggle when Huda scents her products very heavily. I can't smell anything, so that's a plus. So I'm just going to press my brush. Now instantly I lightly pressed this. I lightly pressed this, beg your pardon, and the whole brush is smothered in product, so it does pick a lot of product up. And I'm just going to start pressing this in, as I did with the Chanel, all around my forehead, and instantly you can see it's significantly darker on my skin. But I think also when I first started blending this, I was like, oh, the first time I used this, I nearly had a heart attack, because I put it on and I was like, oh, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do? It is definitely cool toned. In my opinion, this is a straight contour as opposed to being a bronzer slash contour, which I think is like more what like Huda's calling it, a sort of a tantour. So it's, you know, like tanning you and it's contouring you at the same time. In my opinion, this is a contour. It's the tone of a contour. It's that cool undertone. It's got that almost, I know people with the deeper shades have been saying it's almost got a purple undertone. I'm just going to blend the edges of everything using the side of my sponge. This is what I would normally do. So you normally just press the product where I want it, and then I go around the edges with a sponge, and then I'm just going to use the other side here. So can you see how it's almost like disappeared? It's almost blended too well. What I kind of think is going to work best with this, I think that's picking up my foundation. Can you see that? I definitely feel like that's picking up my foundation. So what we're going to not do is panic. We're not going to panic, guys. Do you know, it's not created any kind of patching or anything, but I just feel like it's slightly picked up my foundation because I'm seeing like skin where there wasn't skin before, if that makes any sense. I definitely feel like it's picked up my foundation. So what we're going to do is we're going to try a different method. I mean, you can still see it, you can still see there's something there. It's probably actually more going on this side than this side as far as there being, you know, a bronze or a contoured effect. But I think this product is going to be better applied with a smaller brush, like Huda's brush that she sells with the product. You can see how much this picks up. So this is my Zoeva 142, and I'm going to apply more like a contour with a little mini brush where I want it, and then I'm going to press it into the skin with my squeezed beauty blender, and I think this is going to be better. I think using the buffing brush with this formula, one, it's buffing it away, like it's gone, because it blends so easily and so well. It's a little bit like the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand in that respect. Like if you saw my review with that one, I felt like if you just went in with the sponge applying it, it just blended it away to nothing. But with a brush, but applying with a brush or using the applicator and then just pressing it lightly into the skin, you definitely had a more successful application where it sort of stayed enough but it still blended nice and easily. It's looking really nice on my forehead, this really nice contour there. With my cheek, obviously I created an issue for myself by using the brush and it lifted my foundation, so now we've got a slight cheek issue going on. But what I will say is that is really nice and natural now, the contour. Ignore this bit here where some of my foundation's lifted and it's giving us a slight issue, but you can see the difference. So here is the contoured side and this is like the is it just about barely bronzed side. So what I would recommend with this is definitely the smaller brush to apply and then press it into the skin. I feel like you're going to need to build it up because it's still very subtle there, you can see that. Just going to add a little bit more at the tops of my cheeks, and actually I'm going to use that first brush now to press that in, because you'll lose less product this way, and this I think is going to be the technique. So we're going to apply with a small brush where you want it and buff it in with a brush. That's way better. Obviously we're not finished, but you hear me, we're not taking away all the product as we were initially. So yeah, this is the way to go. Sorry guys, this has been a bit experimental, but it is still quite new to me, so I'm just learning, you know. It's a process. It is a process. Okay, yeah, way better like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw on a line, like a contour line, like you would normally with most contour products, and then you're going to press it in and blend it out until you're happy. And obviously you can keep going and have a really, really natural contour, or you could leave it like this and have a really strong contour, or like I usually do, I just finish off with the sponge that I used for my foundation to really blend everything seamlessly together. Ultimately, I just don't feel like this is a bronzer at all. It's definitely more of just a straight cream contour to me, in my opinion. I feel like now, in order to not look too muddy, I need to add some bronzer, you know, and some blush and this just to be the contour and create the shadow. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer now. This is the Lovegasm palette. And I'm going to add some bronzer on the top because I want to see if it moves it, if it has an issue with it, if it goes and marries nicely. And also this is going to help with that muddiness because it needs to stay in its contour place. Like I said, I just don't think this is actually like a bronzy contour, or a contoury bronzer. I think it is just a contour on me in this shade anyway. And this, adding the bronzer in the bronzy zone and keeping the contour where it should be in the hollows, that's just going to make my face a lot more balanced. It's got a lovely like satin natural finish to it, I will say that. I'm just going to add some on this side now so that I'm not two different people. Again, I'm going to use my Japonesque brush to start with. It does blend so easily. Do you see how quickly that blends? Really love that. I think it looks really good on the forehead, I will definitely say that. I think I'm going to press it in and up with this brush. And here you can see actually how much better that looks without the issue that I had before. So on this side, obviously I laid down the Chanel bronzer, which really did nothing. So this is like how it would look if I hadn't messed this zone up by trying to use it as a bronzer. Lights down and you can see a much more natural contour there, and you can again, like I said, go in with your sponge if you want to make it more natural, if you want to sheer it out more with your foundation sponge until you're happy really. Everyone is different. Some people want it more dramatic, some people want it more natural, but this is how we should have done it the first time around. So I'm just going over again with the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer, and honestly it doesn't feel like there's a cream underneath there. It definitely sets down nicely. Doesn't feel like, you know, it's moving, it's not tugging. It's working really nicely with the bronzer, but I would not advise using it as a bronzer, or this side happens. So I'm just going to run some of this down the sides of my nose. I'm not huge into nose contour because I have quite a skinny, like narrow nose. Actually my issue is that my nose is longer than the majority of my face, so I really only contour my nose to kind of keep a nose on my face, you know, once you've added all your foundation and concealer in. Sometimes your nose is like gone, it's lost. But yeah, that blended very, very easily and quickly, and I wasn't really using this best brush for it. Okay, so I've just put on some blush. I used the highlight out of my Charlotte Tilbury Lovegasm palette, and then I used MAC's Pinch Me blush just to finish off. Everything goes on beautifully over both the Soleil Tantour Chanel and the Huda product. So yeah, there's no competition there. They are beautiful formulas, consistencies to apply. Both blend out like a dream. I would say that the Soleil Tantour Chanel, it blends out beautifully, but it doesn't disappear unless you're more of a medium or deeper skin tone. Whereas the Huda Beauty, you have to be really, really light-handed when you blend, or it will blend away because it blends so easily, which is no bad thing. But I would blend with a brush and then just go around the edges with a sponge. Otherwise, if you use a sponge like you saw, you'll just lose your whole product. I'm sorry that this was a slight mess of an application, but I don't like to take stuff out like that when I struggle with the product or I get it wrong, because we all do that, and I just think it's normal, and I don't want it to look like I know what I'm doing when evidently that would be a lie. So here's my verdict. No, it is not going to be a deeper, darker version of the Chanel Soleil Tantour Chanel, because I ultimately do not feel this is a bronzer. It is just a straight cream contour. It's a very, very nice one. It goes on beautifully. I love the tone. It's very nice and easy to work with. Other products go on it beautifully, but do I believe it's going to be a bronzer, a cream bronzer that's as good as the Soleil Tantour Chanel for other skin tones? No, I think if you use it as a bronzer, you're going to look very muddy, as I did on this side, and if you use it incorrectly, you're also going to lift up product. So I don't think, sadly, it's the answer to our prayers on the Soleil Tantour Chanel front. We ultimately just need Chanel to half the price and bring out 10 more shades. Is that so much to ask? Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful, and I would love to see you in a future one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.